The article which I found most interesting in my research for my annotated bibliography in relation to classroom setup and classroom management was the article Modifying the Classroom Environment to Increase Engagement and Decrease Disruption for Students Who Are Deaf or Hard of Hearing. This article follows a case study which was conducted across 3 classrooms. All the classrooms contain students who are deaf or hard of hearing. The physical environment and features within the classroom were all rearranged. There were 3 parts to the testing. The first was the initial observation of the students in the classroom before any changes had been made. The second was the intervention part, which was the observation of students after the changes had been made. And the third was the aftermath observation, which saw the teacher observe the students in the new classroom. The observations were then all collected and compared to each other. The information in this article was all very, very relevant and focused explicitly on classroom management. It centered a lot around the behavior of the students and especially the relationship between academic engagement and the decrease in disruption. I found it very interesting because even though the main focus was on deaf students, the results of the case study and all the information that was presented can definitely be applied to all students in classrooms. It is very useful information for teachers. The results of the observations were that there was a 42% increase in academic engagement after the rearrangement of the room. There is a graph in the article which shows the difference in the levels of academic engagement and disruptive behaviour in all 3 parts of the testing. In the first section, you can see that the academic engagement and the disruptive behaviour are very closely aligned and they often overlap, which means that there would have been very low levels of attentiveness in class and very high levels of disruption. The second part, it can be seen that the 2 elements are very separate. There was a 42% increase in engagement, so this is obviously due to some sort of change. The only change that occurred was the physical environment. The third part of the testing, the results actually mirror the second part, which means the students have taken on board the physical changes and are positively adapting to the new classroom setup. I found this case study to raise important issues. All the classrooms, both students and the teachers, communicated only through sign language. This would mean that the visual aspects of the classroom, of the physical environment, would have needed to be very carefully considered and appropriately modified. This can be related back to students in classrooms of all kinds, because ultimately in a classroom setting, it is the teacher who knows the students best. So teachers actually have the responsibility to modify classrooms and set up their own classroom, which will only positively benefit the students. The environment should promote positive thinking, positive social interaction, and promote high levels of learning. I found that this case study actually gave these teachers of the students in these classrooms the opportunity to do something which they wouldn't have been able to usually do. There are obviously special considerations which need to be thought of when teaching students who are deaf or hard of hearing, and the teachers of these students may have been hesitant to rearrange the setting of the classroom. It was also mentioned in the article that 40% of deaf students also display characteristics of other learning disabilities such as ADD or emotional problems. Teachers may have been hesitant to rearrange classrooms in case of triggering or highly disturbing these students. I think it's very important that this case study was done in a controlled environment and that the teacher had a lot of say in what was modified. This case study gave the teachers and students the boost they needed to be able to further positively interact and engage with each other. From this article, I will take away a lot of information and very good ideas on how to organise my own classroom. I've learned that the physical environment is very important to classroom management, and when students first walk in on the first day, the physical environment of the classroom is usually the first thing they interact with. When they sit at their desk, the way they interact with the teacher and the way they are able to access the classroom. Therefore, I think that it is very important to early on establish and maintain and let the class know how the classroom will be set up, how you will do specific activities, if you will rearrange desks at certain times. I think it's very important to let students know what will be happening. It is also very important to include the students and ask for their opinions and ask for feedback on how they think the layout of the classroom should be. If they don't like it, if they are constantly getting disrupted by their neighbour, if they are not able to see the teacher properly, if they can't hear the teacher talking properly, chances are they will be disinterested in what they are learning and they will just be disruptive. Persistence and consistency are keys when making physical changes in the environment. If you are going to change the desks around for a specific activity, be consistent when you do it. Don't do it once and not do it again and then do it once like further on down the track. Do it every single time you do it. If you want to change the rearrange desks on a regular basis, do it on a set basis. This will allow students to become comfortable in the classroom and to just recognize what is happening, and it will allow them just not to freak out when something happens. I really enjoyed reading this article. I found it to be my most interesting and strongest of the articles, and even though the focus is on students who are deaf and hard of hearing, I will take away many key ideas and important information which I will definitely use in my own classroom. Thank you.